Now look at this. Text messages exposed of Warren and Christine actually talking to each other starting Saturday, July 4th at 11:15 p.m.
So, well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen. So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan.
Javon and Warren talked before anybody else. So that means Javon was the first person to know. Why would Javon be shocked that he's missing if he just got off the phone with Warren and Warren's like, hey, Javon's missing. I need to call his mom. That press conference was on August 13th, 2026. It says that letter was sent August 12th to Eric Hertz. Well,
isn't cooperating with the Jackson County DA after missing a deadline to turn in Nolan's phone.
This tragedy, clearly the inconsistencies and unanswered questions.
So someone exposed text messages between Warren and Christine the night that Nolan Wells went missing. Plus, there's some text messages after that night too. I'm going to show you guys those text messages. And not only that, there are some more consistencies that kind of don't add up when it comes to dates and timelines of the press conferences with the letters they are sending to the DA. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm going to let you guys take a look at them for yourself, and you guys can tell me, what do you think? Because so far, this case has been about consistencies. Let me look and see what's going on, and I'm finding so many inconsistencies. It's crazy. Fugitive TV, stay tuned. Welcome to Fugitive TV. My name is Ray Marcel. What we do here is we take a look at cases, anything true crime, missing individuals, unsolved crime, and I give you guys a deeper look, a great perspective, a different type of perspective, because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I actually ran for 15 years, lived in different countries under different names, then eventually turned myself in. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I help family members locate missing individuals and even help them locate other fugitives that might have done something horrific to a family member. Well, we are back on Nolan Wells because there has been an update, okay? For you guys who don't know, if anybody doesn't know, Nolan Wells is the 18-year-old young male who went missing July 4th off the coast of Mississippi, the Biloxi area, Ocean Springs, Biloxi area. They went to Horn Island, which is 10 miles off the coast. He went with a bunch of friends, and the friends had boat issues, had to come back to shore. Nolan Wells stayed behind, allegedly to be with a female. And there was hundreds of people on this island because it was 4th of July, and this is what everybody does. They go to Horn Island, have fun, and drink. Well, he ended up missing, and then his body washed ashore 2 days later. Ever since this case, there's been so much BS, so much lies. There's been so much race baiting. It's been so much hate out there. It's been ridiculous. So I have been finding myself almost every day or every other day, people are sending me emails. Thank you so much, because I've been talking to so many people around the Ocean Springs area. So I want to say thank you to you guys for sending me all the tips you have, pictures and videos, and thank you for trusting me with this information. Well, I've been getting so much information about this case, especially from people from Ocean Springs, all right? And compared with the information they give me and compared with timelines of these press conferences, if you guys have been following me, I have been telling you, especially in my last couple of videos about Nolan Wells, that there's a narrative being pushed, okay? Now, first, the narrative we all know was kind of racial. Nobody can't deny this. First, the narrative was, hey, Nolan Wells, this black kid with 3 white boys, went to Horn Island. They left him on an island, and the 3 white boys came back alive. That was kind of the first narrative that was pushed on us, especially by Ben Crump and company. Then after that, the narrative was, well, he was still on the boat. There was a big party. They went to another party afterwards and they beat him up at the party. That was another narrative that was pushed. Both of those narratives were debunked. Okay, first of all, it wasn't just 3 white boys. It was about 24 to 25 kids that went with Nolan on 3 separate boats to the island, all right? And hundreds of people were there. And he was not the only black guy there too. Matter of fact, Nolan has another friend named Javon, who I kind of actually would love for somebody to interview him again, because his interviews, you can't even find the original interviews anymore. They like took them down. And I wonder why. But anyways, Javon's black. He's there with him. There's another black guy named Trayston, but for some reason, black people are kind of looking at Trayston like he's not black. Maybe because he's black and white. Trayston, I understand, because I'm mixed myself. And then also growing up, I had the same issue. Black folks will look at me and be like, hey, you're not really black. Why? Because my grades are good? I never understood that. But they will look at him and say he's not really black. But then you had other people on the island who are black too. I have videos and pictures of them. So that narrative was debunked. Nolan never went to a pool party afterwards. That was debunked because the pool party picture was actually on June 27th, not even July 4th. So there's been a bunch. Then there was a video on Snapchat showing some kids wrestling on the sand. One of them was a black kid that with dreads, he was like tossed in the air and it looked brutal, but it was like a little ritual they do. Come to find out, that's not even the same kids. This is not even Horn Island. Every time something gets debunked, somebody throws something else. And there's a bunch of other things right now, which in my next video, I'm going to debunk them for you, okay? But right now, what we're going to talk about is some inconsistencies. Not only that, some text messages that have been exposed, and we're going to talk about that too. But first, let me tell you one of the first inconsistencies that I just noticed this morning. For one, it happens to deal with the letter that the attorney responded to the DA's office with, okay? Now, I'm going to read you this letter, so please pay attention to this letter. I'm going to break down the letter. Pay attention to the dates. Pay attention to the name that's in the letter, okay? And then you're going to see for yourself what's going on here, all right? So this letter, okay, is from Smith Law. Now, these attorneys are representatives of the Nolan Wells family. Now, these attorneys actually are pretty much personal injury lawyers. They deal with personal injury. So you might be like, why is personal injury? Well, think about it. There could be lawsuits coming of wrongful death if they can find if there's any evidence of wrongful death. This is one of the reasons why all these attorneys are attached onto the case. Well, on this letter, okay, the DA, before this letter was sent, the DA sent them a letter saying, hey, we need Nolan's cell phone, okay? Nolan's cell phone. Nolan's cell phone has been a big focal point of this case because Nolan's cell phone was left on one of the boats that took off from Horn Island, and Nolan's parents made it a big issue that Nolan didn't have his cell phone. Ben Crump and Al Sharpton made it a big issue that Nolan didn't have his cell phone with him. And they also said that why would Nolan leave his cell phone on the boat? And they also said, and this was another discrepancy, inconsistency, they said they had to hunt down the cell phone for themselves.
Nolan, because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, like they grew up together. They played city league sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, like, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been, like it had, I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. Like I'm not, he's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location.
That his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away. He was one black with three young white men who happened to end up with his phone, happened to end up with his keys.
They told us that for at least 3 weeks after Nolan Wells died. So everybody was believing that they had to hunt down the cell phone, but come to find out, Warren and the boys came out with an interview and said, hey, we told Christine on the phone, we have Nolan's cell phone. We have his keys. Ben Crump's attorneys and Christine and all them never ever mentioned that. I find that a big problem because if you don't mention that, think about that. If she would have mentioned that from the start, saying, yeah, he did tell us they had the cell phone, they had the keys. If that was mentioned from the start, guys, people would think differently. But in the very beginning, that was one of the most crucial things. They had to hunt down the cell phone and the keys. They didn't even call him to let them know that Nolan was missing. Come to find out, they did. And there was press conferences of Ben Crump and family and Nolan Wells and family basically saying the opposite. Now, though, Christine is coming out saying, hey, I did talk to Warren. He did tell me he had the phone and the keys.
At some point, he tells me that, I was like, well, you know, his phone says GPS Life 360, not Snapchat.
Right.
Life 360 says that he's on land. And he was like, well, no, I mean, you know, well, we have his phone.
Now Christine is coming out in press conferences saying that. She said that in the last press conference with the NABJ. So why would she say it now? But why would they not say it at the other 5,000 press conferences that happened? Was it because they knew that, let's say, we have to tell exactly the facts because some people are finding out? I don't know. Well, this letter says, thank you for your correspondence dated August 12, 2026. As Mississippi counsel for the Nolan Wells family, A.R. Smith Law will serve as the primary point of contact for the legal team so that communication with the office can be coordinated efficiently. It says, we agree that the examination of Nolan's cell phone was discussed during the July 15th meeting. Now, July 15th, this was kind of really one of the first press conferences that the family had. The video showed them walking down the steps like they were coming out of the DA's office saying, hey, we all agreed to have Nolan's cell phone examined because the family believes that when she got the phone back, that there were messages deleted from Snapchat because there was no uploaded videos. Once again, there's no proof of this so far, but she believed that this is what happened, all right? And she didn't want to turn the cell phone over to the authorities because she doesn't trust the authorities and their investigation. So this goes on to say, we agreed a jointly coordinated forensic examination of the phone that would include the use of digital forensic lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. You guys might not realize I'm still kind of stuck on why they're doing this at the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. This part I don't understand, okay? There's almost $1 million in that GoFundMe account. They can easily spend that money and get the best forensics possible. So you mean the best forensics is at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College? No disrespect to anybody that works there, but I'm just saying. FBI involvement, correspondence with your office reflected our continued willingness to proceed through a mutually agreed procedure. Additionally, keep this name in mind. Mr. Hertz contacted you on July 25th. While traveling abroad and indicated that he would reconnect upon his return. Accordingly, our prior correspondence with our office should not be understood to suggest that our legal team had been unwilling to facilitate a forensic examination of the phone. So remember, they're responding. This is dated August 13th. Okay, so they're saying the DA gave them a letter on August 12th. Saying, hey, let's look at the phone. Now, to date, Nolan's parents remain willing to facilitate an appropriate forensic examination of Nolan's phone, including FBI involvement, according to our agreement on July 15th. However, your letter sent to Eric Hertz on August 12th at 12:51 p.m. Eastern set a deadline for the Wansleys to deliver the phone to your office by August 14th at 9 a.m. This is not practicable for a number of reasons. So they gave him a 48-hour deadline to, hey, come deliver Nolan's phone so we can get this over with. First, the date and time you proposed provided less than 48 hours notice. More, however, the Wansleys were outside Mississippi when your letter was sent and are not scheduled to return until after the deadline you imposed. Second, the parties never agreed to simply deliver the phone to your office. Instead, the agreement was that we would set a mutually agreed date and time for the phone to be examined together by our office's forensic professionals, and possibly the FBI as well. Third, the parties have not yet agreed upon a forensic protocol addressing at a minimum the scope and method of examination, chain of custody, preservation of forensic extraction, access to result forensic data. Okay, so basically they're saying that the date that the DA's office sent their letter on August 12th at 12:51 p.m. Eastern did not match. They could not make this. Now watch this, guys.
That we as lawyers ethically have to follow in order to turn over evidence. There's chains of custody, there's protected private information, and we are willing, in fact today, I'm not doing anything the rest of the day, to meet with the FBI and our person, our expert, to go over that phone. And we've made that clear. So we're ready to do that at any moment.
The press conference that was held at the NABJ, okay, with all the attorneys, that press conference was on August 13th, 2026. You can see it right here, August 13th, 2026 at the Atlanta Marriott Marquis in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. And if we go back to the letter, it says that letter was sent August 12th to Eric Hertz. Well, what was done on August 12th and what was said on what was done on August 13th and what was said on August 13th, a day after that letter from the DA was sent to Eric Hertz. Let me show you.
And we are willing, in fact today, I'm not doing anything the rest of the day, to meet with the FBI and our person, our expert, to go over that phone. And we've made that clear. So we're ready to do that at any moment.
So you might be asking, who's Eric Hertz? Maybe Eric Hertz was abroad, okay? Maybe he was abroad. He was away and couldn't just because that guy at the press conference just because he said we're willing and able, maybe he's not Eric Hertz. Maybe he has no say so. Well, guys, Eric Hertz is this guy right here. The same guy who got on the stand on the podium and said, I'm willing to do it right now. I have nothing else better to do. I'll let you guys sit and think about that one. Go ahead. You can think some more. Think a little more. This is what we do here, guys. We dig deep. We don't just look at what people say and run with it. We actually look at what people say and then we try to proofread it, okay, before we send it out to anybody else. So when I saw that letter, I started thinking, hold on, Eric Hertz, is that the same guy who's talking at the press conferences? Is that the same guy? Come to find out it's the same guy. Wait, let's look back at that letter. It says the DA sent that letter on the 12th. Wait, that press conference is on the 13th, a day after the letter was sent. But now Eric is abroad, unless Eric has a twin brother we don't know about that's an attorney too. And Eric is an attorney out of Atlanta, Georgia. Now there's one part in this letter that somebody sent to me, and thank you for sending this to me. And I had to really read it. I read it, but I didn't really read it, if you know what I mean, when I first read this letter. It says, at the present, the family is not requesting that any additional document, recording, photograph, digital media, report, or other material in the legal team's possession be submitted to the grand jury. This response should not be understood as a representation concerning privilege, confidential, attorney, work product, expert, or other protocol. Wait. Did you guys hear this? Okay. It says, we continue to follow up and vet these potential witnesses. At the present, the family is not requesting that any additional document, recording, photograph, digital media, report, other material in the legal team's possession be submitted to the grand jury. Why? Isn't a grand jury the point of when somebody can get indicted? So you guys let me know. Why would they not want to submit evidence to the grand jury. Now, this is coming from Ben Crump and them's, not Ben Crump, but the other legal team, the injury attorneys, A.R. Smith, who's been talking with the DA about the phone. So why would you not want to submit evidence if you're doing an investigation yourself? To me, that makes no sense. Is there because there's no evidence to submit? Please let me know what you think about that. Now, I tried going back, trying to find the original footage of Javon's interviews from TMZ, and I believe the other ones from CNN, where his mom nudges him, like, don't say something. And you can't find the original interview. I believe TMZ took theirs down, and the one from CNN, they have a clip of it up, but they don't have the full interview. There's also some interviews that I was looking for with Christine and her husband with Al Sharpton, when Al Sharpton did an interview with them. I can't find the original interview of that one either. There's a couple interviews that I can't find that they have done. So I don't know if people pulled them down or they requested to pull them down because maybe too much information was said. I do not know. But I've noticed Javon has not said much at all. Now, the one thing that I don't think nobody picked up on, okay? I don't think anybody picked up on this. Before we get to these text messages, why, if Warren got in contact with Javon to get Christine's number, right? Javon and Warren talked before anybody else. So Warren told Javon, hey, have you talked to Nolan? So that means Javon was the first person to know. So when Nolan's mom contacted her friend Tashima, I believe that's her name, and then Tashima contacted Javon because Javon's mom is Tashima, and Tashima and Christina are good friends. Tashima said Christine was on the line, like a three-way call. Hey, have you heard from Nolan? No, I have not. Nolan's missing. Is he for real? Javon acted like he was shocked from their story.
He called me and told me, hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys? I said, well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown, which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well. She said, well, Nolan hasn't been. So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island. And he was like, what? Are y'all serious? He was like, yes. And so Christine intervened in the conversation, said, Nolan has not been heard from since he left the island. So Javon was like, well, that's when I seen it. I haven't seen it since then. Again, everybody go their separate ways.
Did you guys pick up on that? Why would Javon be shocked that he's missing if he just got off the phone with Warren and Warren's like, hey, Javon's missing. I need to call his mom. I always said, why didn't Javon call the mom if he's supposed to be the best friend? So why, when they call him, he act like nothing happened? I don't know, guys. Maybe you don't see it, but I do. And I guess Crump came out and made a statement. And his statement was a little different than what the letter from Law Smith said. He's basically saying like, hey, the family of Nolan Wells is not going to be pressured into your deadlines to do anything. Well, I thought from the start, from all these press conferences, that you guys were pressuring the DA into hurrying up to find answers. That's all we hear is we want answers. We want a thorough and transparent investigation. That's all we've heard. Now the DA saying, all right, let's get this done and over with. Oh, wait. You only gave us 48 hours. The family is out of state. And he's saying they didn't even get the letter. So which one is it? You didn't get the letter, or you did get the letter, but you don't have enough time because Mr. Eric was abroad. See, This is when I look at certain things and I call BS. Now, the district attorney did release a statement tonight. So let's read what the district attorney has released. This is straight from the district attorney's office, okay? As of August 18th, 2026. As district attorney, I do not have the same freedom to share information publicly that private individuals may have. For example, I do not have the freedom to release letters I've sent in this investigation, discuss witness cooperation, or testing of evidence. I do not have the freedom to identify what information is verified and what information is false. I do not have the freedom to publicly adapt a narrative and choose one fact over another. Nor do I control the information released by private individuals who are not part of the investigation team. You get that? Nor do I control the information released by private individuals who are not part of the investigation team. I cannot control whether private individuals release letters they have sent to me, and she's talking about, I guess, Nolan Wells' legal team. Just as I cannot prevent them from releasing letters I have sent to them. I cannot control which facts or bits of information are shared or whether that information is being shared in context, twisted, or misconstrued. Public commentary does not make the speaker transparent, just like exercising restraint consistent with the law does not make the process corrupt. The fact that something is said does not necessarily mean it's actually true. Prosecutors are held to the highest ethical standard under the law, as we should be. The people we serve deserve no less. I understand that a void is perceived when some are speaking publicly about a matter while others do not. I would be stepping outside the bounds of law if I were to fill that void and share information publicly, with all the public pressure being placed on my office. Filling a void would only serve to get pressure off of me. No one deserves better. There is no pressure that can be placed on me and no force that is greater than the weight of the oath I took and responsibility to the people I serve. My obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all the evidence collected in this case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation. Complete evidence presentation, the actual truth and understanding of the law. I am obligated to do so in keeping with the law and rules of the court. On July 23rd, 2026, I released a recorded statement explaining a process that or what the people of Jackson County should expect in this matter. There is nothing more to be shared at this time. I caution the public about assigning trustworthiness to things they read and see online. Basically, she's saying, don't believe the BS either. Don't believe the BS. I also ask that rather than those individuals demanding that, I step outside the bounds of the law and make public statements. We all step back, allow the process to work, allow us to do the job we were elected to do. I stand firmly on the rule of law and my ethical obligations. That is what people of Jackson County elected me to do. I will present the grand jury with a thorough, complete, and fair investigation into the death of Nolan Wells.
Isn't cooperating with the Jackson County DA after missing a deadline to turn in Nolan's phone. Attorney Ben Crump and the legal team state that all parties agreed in mid-July to a joint examination of the phone, but no date or no time for that was scheduled. On Wednesday, the Jackson County DA's office apparently sent out a letter issuing 48 hours to turn in the phone. Well, Crump's team says the family was out of state at the time and they didn't get the letter. The legal team apparently sent out a notice to the DA's office confirming the family's intent on cooperating once protocol for a time and date to inspect the phone is sent to all parties. And setting a 48-hour deadline while the family was out of the state isn't a good faith path to answers, and it weakens our confidence in the process. Nolan's parents will not be pulled into a fight over deadlines or logistics.
Now, at the beginning of this case, if you've been following, you know that Christine and Ben Crump have been saying, this is what they've been saying from the start, is that these boys lawyered up and was not talking to nobody. You guys remember the story? I even fell for it myself when I first started doing this case. I will admit it. I fell for that myself until I started doing the research and took the time to look through the BS that's out there and find out, hey, this is not true. Now look at this. Text messages exposed of Warren and Christine actually talking to each other starting Saturday, July 4th at 11:15 p.m. Now we know Warren called Christine that night to say, hey, have you seen or heard from Nolan? He had to call Javon first. He called Javon to get Christine's number. So when he called Javon, obviously he had to say, have you heard from Nolan? And Javon's like, no, I haven't heard from Nolan. Hey, I need to call Christine. Well, here's Christine's number. Why didn't Javon call Christine? Javon is supposed to be Nolan's real best friend, like the family has been saying. Now, you guys might look at me and say, why are you attacking? You guys, sometimes you have to sit here, and it's not attacking. It's why is there so many inconsistencies being said? Why? Why does it sound like some stuff is being hidden and not told us? This is dangerous. This is why people pull out BS and put out fake videos and things like that. Because if the truth is said from the start, we wouldn't have so many gaps to fill and people wouldn't be making up things. So he had to call Javon, then call Christine. Here are the text messages, all right? It says, Warren, where is his car? He says, at Jack's house. Where is that? Can you send me the address where you guys launched? Yes, ma'am. What time was the last time you guys saw him? He says 3 p.m. and then sends where the boat launch is at. Next. What was he wearing? Now this right here was wrong at first. He says black shorts and sunglasses. Now we do know that at first it was not black shirts and sunglasses. It wasn't black shorts. The shorts ended up being blue. All right. Then he goes, she says, can you call Neva at DMR? He says, on the phone with Coast Guard now. I will after. Yes, ma'am. She says, thank you so much. We have to file a missing persons report. So one more time, tell me exactly where you saw him last. I'm sorry, I'm asking you to repeat this. He goes on to say, 3 p.m. West Tip, north side of Horn Island. Where did you guys launch from? We launched the boats yesterday evening and left from this morning. And then sends her the marks once again. Then she says Nolan's dad is at the house to pick up the key. All right. That's at 2:24 a.m. The very next day, 1:02 p.m., July 5th. Hey, Warren, what kind of sunglasses was Noah's wearing? I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Miss Christine. And then at July 5th, all right, later on that evening, he says, hey, Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning to look. I've been on and off the phone with Jackson County Sheriff's Office today. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. She replies back with thank you. Then he goes, we are all praying for your family. She says, we appreciate it. Okay. Then later on that night, she says, what is the make and model of the boat your guys were on? Warren said Nolan went out on a 22 Triton offshore. I was on a 24 tie line on the way out. We were on separate boats. I went back on the Triton. So from the beginning, when we were all told Norm went on one boat with 3 boys and his 3 boys came back, from the beginning, that was false. It shows right here. Warren wasn't even on the same boat. All right. So then July 6th. Hey, Warren, can you collect any of Nolan's items left at Jack's house? All right. Now, Warren doesn't reply back. We don't know if Warren called her or what, but there's no reply here, as you see. So there is a gap. Now, Monday, July 20th, he's at 8, looks like it says 8:51 a.m. Good morning. Miss Christine, I just wanted to let you know that my family and I have been praying for you and your family. Nolan was one of my best friends since we were in 8th grade together. You and Mr. Elmore raised one of the best men I've ever met. I wish I could be there today, but I would never want to take the attention off of your family and Nolan and be a distraction. Thank you for being the best parents that Nolan could have. This was dated July 20th. And guess what happened that same day? On July 20th. That's when they had that big press conference with Ben Crump and everybody. Went out there pretty much talking about we had to go search for the keys. We had to go search for the car. People are lying. The exact same day. Guys, you guys can let me know what you think about all this. Just let me know. I'm still waiting for them to come out and say Javon left his cell phone on the boat too. Because apparently Javon left his cell phone on the boat as well. So I'm still waiting for them to come out and say this. Has Javon's phone been turned over? Because if his phone was turned over or they looked at his phone, if his phone was left on the boat, they can easily pinpoint the GPS. Because that means if his phone was next to Nolan's, it would arrive at the same time back to shore. These are the questions I have. And like I said, it's not attacking. It's pointing out the inconsistencies of what we have been told from the start of the story. Because I'm not going to let somebody show me something or a video or a picture and not do the research myself on it to figure out where that video came from, where that picture came from, or why did this person say that in general. That's not what we do around here. We research, we investigate, we figure out the consistencies. That's what true crime is all about. Figuring out the consistencies, figuring out who's lying so the case can get solved. I can name plenty of cases, and I'm pretty sure you guys watching this can as well, of people with inconsistent stories. And you're side-eyeing them like, interesting. Why is this not being told to us? Why is this not being told in general? Why is this being fed to us? Now, I already told you guys how they are slowly rolling out a political agenda on us, especially with the last press conference. If you didn't see that video, go watch my last video on Nolan Wells and you will see what I mean. Matter of fact, I'll even put it in the description. Because there's a slow agenda being rolled on us with how we should vote. And I truly believe that this situation is being used as fuel to stampede a herd to the voting booth to vote for certain people or certain acts around midterms and election time. You guys let me know what you think, all right? Please comment below how long you've been following me. And even if you disagree, let me know below. Does any of this make sense to you? Any of this makes sense? I mean, he said we're willing and able. We'll do it right now. And then the DA, and then they're like, oh, we can't do it. Just let me know what you think below, all right? Comment where you're watching from. Please like and subscribe. Join the membership if you can. Go follow on X and Facebook, all right? Because I'm starting to post more on that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please take care. Love one another. Look out at your surroundings. Watch your surroundings. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.